Hey guys, so if I've done this right, I'm currently streaming live on YouTube and on Instagram at the same time. And I'm doing so today because I have a few announcements I want to make and let you know about some upgrades and things that are happening. Kind of give you a up-to-the-minute type updates. So for starters, one of the big upgrades that are coming is I am upgrading my avionics in the Baron. So I am adding IFD 550 to the Baron. I'm also adding an Avionics audio panel. So I have my little 440, for those of you who are familiar with my panel. I'm still keeping that. That's going to move down. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in the 550, which is the bigger one. And it also has some additional features that the 540 doesn't have. So all that's going to be going into the Baron. Hopefully that'll be done before Oshkosh. And for those of you going to Oshkosh, hopefully the plane will be there and the upgrades will be done. So that's one big announcement that's coming. And I'll bring you guys, hey Isaiah, I'll bring you guys along for all that as well. And you will just kind of see the process and who's doing it and how it's coming along and my opinion of all that. So those changes that are coming to me. So those of you who follow me, you guys know that I use these little GoPro cameras. And I've had lots of problems with these GoPro cameras, and a lot of flights that I've recorded haven't necessarily made it to YouTube for different reasons. Some of which is because sometimes these bad boys will die on me. Sometimes they don't record the audio. I've had all kinds of problems. So I'm in the process of testing out something new. Good morning from Thousand Oaks, Mike. How you doing? So I have decided I'm going to try something new. So when I was at Sun and Fun, I met up with FlightFlix, and FlightFlix has a Ghost 4K camera. And the thing about the Ghost 4K camera, and I'm going to kind of open it here with us, is the Ghost 4K camera is supposed to be able to record 4 hours of video, a 4K video. I don't shoot in 4K, not yet, but 4 hours would be huge because sometimes I miss out on stuff. So anyhow, so that's this here. That's from FlightFlix. I'm going to go ahead and my next flight, I'm flying tomorrow, and I'm going to go ahead and use this. And when I do use this, I'll give you guys a review. Go on to baronpilot.net, and you can find out my opinion on it. And there'll be a link in there. And I do have a just coupon code for these guys as well from FlightFlix. You can use it for whatever. So, so unveiling the box, they've got, you guys can't really see, but there's some little mounts and stuff for the camera. But more importantly, the camera. Here's the cool thing about it, and it's one of the things I liked about it. So here you can see the size compared to the GoPro, right? It's pretty similar in size, except it is long instead of square. So this would sit like this versus this. And the other thing about it's cool is that you can mount it however you want, because if you see here the little white arrow, I don't know if you can see that, little white arrow, but you just, however you mount the camera, you just have that pointed up. And so if you have a high wing and you're mounted on your bar and it has to sit sideways, well, now you don't have your camera kind of sitting like this. So so that was, I thought, was a pretty cool feature these guys had. And more importantly, the 4 hours. So this is a standard battery. I got another box in here. I'm not going to sit here and open all this stuff up, but in here is the longer battery that basically just sits. I haven't even opened this, so I'm figuring all this out with you. But basically this battery comes off here somehow, and I'm going to break it, I'm sure. But I'll figure that out, and it pops in there. Opposed to this bad boy, which you guys have seen, and some of you have commented, like when it falls off of my you know, suction mounts fall, and because it's significantly heavier. So anyhow, be sure to check them out. FlightFlix. You can, like I said, go to my website. Another cool little thing that I've just acquired. Again, Sun and Fun, Oshkosh. Don't go unless you're willing to spend money, and I really wasn't, but that's what happens. AirTex LT. Again, I'll give a review of this stuff on baronpilot.net, but check this out. AirTex LT, little portable unit, small, plugs in with cigarette lighter, has a little antenna. So what is it? What is AirTex LT? Well, it's just what the name says. It's basically a Bluetooth device. The LT allows 6 people to use it, and you can go ahead and connect, and you can send and receive text messages. As a pilot, I'm not very interested in sending and receiving text messages personally, but the big thing about it is I can get digital ATISes from large airports. I can pick up METARs and weather from airports, and there's FBO links, so I can communicate with the FBOs well in advance, let them know I'm coming, rather than waiting till I'm in radio range inside the terminal area. Anyhow, and the other thing about this is it's portable, so I can take it out of the airplane, use it on my boat, or anywhere, and it uses Iridium satellites, so you always have coverage. So anyhow, so that's it. There's some other changes and stuff, but wanted to give you guys a shout out. Oshkosh, those of you going to Oshkosh, be sure to look me up. We'll be at Oshkosh. Go to baronpod.net. I will be posting probably the next day or two meetup schedule for those of you who want to come out to Oshkosh and say hi. I will be there. So real quick, hey from Orlando, hey Ronnie, Central Illinois, UK. Wow, okay. Love your videos. Thank you, Nelson. Appreciate it. From Paris, France. Unbelievable how far this reaches. I get chills just thinking about how far you guys are reaching out from. First time with anyone live. Well, it's actually my second time going live, so that's kind of like my first time too, right? Montreal, Quebec. Wow, I can't get over this. So anyhow, hope you guys like that stuff. This little thing's moving too fast. Netherlands. Wow. Holy crap. Unbelievable. So Phoenix, Holland. Wow. So Northport, Florida. I can't even keep up with you guys. Dubai. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Nashville. Wow. Hope you're all having good weather. Hope you guys are flying. But so that's my gist. So just want to give you guys a little update. I've also been talking to some other aviation YouTubers. I probably shouldn't mention this now, but since you guys are here, hope to catch you at Oshkosh. I will be there, baronpod.net. I'll post where I'm there. Hungary, wow. So anyhow, just made me lose my train of thought. Where was I going? Somebody, what did I just say? Germany, wow. Come on, somebody help me out. What was I just saying? I don't recall now. Oh, yes, thank you. You were talking to YouTubers. Haha, awesome. So I knew you guys would, someone keep me honest. So I'm probably going to try to work out with getting another fellow YouTuber or two and sitting down and doing a kind of a round table with you guys and maybe asking you guys, letting you guys kind of key in like you are now and ask us questions and kind of, have a little interaction session with you guys. So with that being said, be sure to that most likely, hopefully we'll be on YouTube as well, but we'll definitely be on Instagram Live. So be sure to follow all of us, because the one thing that we're not going to announce is whose social media platform that we're going to do it on. So that's the one thing to keep you guys honest. So if you do want to hear it, be sure to follow all of us, because it could be mine, it could be, well, the guys you've already seen me with, right? It could be mine, it could be Premier One Drivers, it could be Mr. Aviation, could be Steve-O's, it could be Corporate Pilot Life, it could be a whole list of us. So the best thing to do is follow all of us, because like I said, we're not going to say who we're going to stream on. I'm not going to say who's going to be there at the moment, but just keep that in mind. So so anyhow, that's it for now. It's my pleasure for the videos. Cessna pilot from Dana Point, California. Nice. So anyhow, I just wanted to give a quick shout out. How much does the Baron cost me to run? Too much. That's one of those things that honestly I get asked a lot. I purposely haven't run the numbers, because if I did, I'd probably sell it, because it's probably more than I want it to be. But you can do the math on some basic things, right? Twin engine, usually I'm in flight. I tell you what I'm burning. I'm usually burning about 28 gallons an hour. So if you figure with takeoff and everything, you do the math times whatever fuel costs. There's those basic costs, insurance, hangar. They add up quick. But I'm not avoiding the question. I just haven't. Haven't done the numbers, to be brutally honest. So, do I like tailwheel flying? You know, that's my bucket list. Something I've always wanted to do. Haven't done it yet. It's definitely on there. Another big bucket list thing. Mine actually was talking to a buddy of mine. I'm probably going to do it sooner than later. Is I want to get my seaplane rating. Again, I'll probably never actually own a seaplane, but it's definitely a bucket list item that I want to do. Didn't want to make this a Q&A thing, but real quick. Yes, Gary, it is in now. Sorry, bud. But I'm sure hopefully the way this works, this whole thing will be on there, so you can go back and watch, see what you missed. Denver, great videos. Thank you. Lunch is on me if I ever come to Denver. Follow me on Instagram, and usually I'll post on Instagram when I'm actually doing something live, so you can hit me up on that. So I will take you up on that. You're a very good pilot. Thank you. Whoa, it's moving too fast again. Yeah, exactly. And honestly, bird of prey, it's better off if you don't. Need a kit file. Yeah. Well, listen, any one of those nice single engine airplanes would definitely make life a lot more affordable. Where's the co-pilot? Not here. Nespresso machine. Oh my gosh, I love mine. Actually, it's not Nespresso. I don't have it with me. It's hand presso. Absolutely love it. In fact, now instead of having to try to find this coffee shop, I actually will make my espresso before every flight. Plug it in the cigarette lighter. Those of you who don't know what he's referring to, I have a portable hand presso. Plug in a cigarette lighter. Can use it in an airplane, car, wherever. That's on baronpilot.net. I show it and talk about it as well. Need to run the cost. If you need to run the cost, can't afford it. Yes and no. I mean, yeah. Yes. So, are you considering flying in the Citabra? I will consider flying in a lot of airplanes. I wish I could afford to have multiple airplanes, kind of like cars. Every airplane serves a different purpose, right? So depending what you're flying, what your needs are, it's kind of like cars, right? I mean, most time you don't need a big SUV, but then it's nice to have it when you need to fill up. Other times you can probably get away with a little mini, right? So yeah, Spruce Creek. I have never been to Spruce Creek, being in Florida, and again, one of those places I need to get into. I actually always wanted to live in a flying community, so I'll throw in a flight in my VTOL Bonanza. See, now you're making it tempting, Timothy. You did twice. Yeah. You've stopped hearing. Yeah, when I went out to Texas, that was all business related. I managed to squeeze in a little bit of time with meeting Josh, Mr. Aviation. For those of you who haven't seen the video, check it out. There's no way I could go to Texas and not meet up with him, and he was a great guy. What's the most remote airport you've flown the Baron into, ever flown internationally? Besides the islands, I mean, the islands are probably the most remote to date, and technically internationally. Although I don't really think of the islands as being international, being that I live in Florida, but technically it is. You got to clear customs. Do I have sponsors? No, not really. I have some companies that sometimes I do things with, and they do things with me. But to date, I don't currently have any sponsors. So things that I talk to you guys about are legit. My Avidyne, I legitimately love my Avidyne stuff. When I mention a product, it's because I like it, not because I'm being paid to tell you I like it. which is kind of a double-edged sword, which is one reason why I haven't pursued the sponsor stuff yet, because I don't want to come across, if I do take any sponsors, it will only be products and people that I truly believe in, because honestly, my opinion is not for sale. But I don't want any people to think that I'm just promoting something because I'm being paid to. So it's a double-edged sword. And so to date, I don't have any quote unquote sponsors. I just find people that I like, and if I promote their products, I like their product, and I like the people. I gotta like both. Any upgrades soon? You missed the beginning of the video. Yes, Avionics 550, IFD 550 is coming in, and I'm getting an Avionics audio panel as well. So hopefully my communication with you guys will be clear, even though I tend to talk fast. It'll be clear, it'll be digital, and there's some really cool features about that I will do as well. Much love from Miami. That's where I'm from. Miami is actually where I learned to fly. Golden Express, Silver Express, we're both there, and both people I flew with when I did my private down there. How often do you fly in a week and a month? Depends. I fly for work as well. So, you know, I have some months, like when I went to Texas, I flew a lot. And then the last couple of weeks, I've been really busy with work and flying commercially. So not so much. So thank you. I'm excited about the upgrades. So it just depends on the month. I try to fly as much as I can and what have you. So hold on, I got people hitting me from both different sides here. For those of you who aren't aware, I'm on both Instagram and YouTube at the moment. So just so confusing. What about upgrading the Baron to turboprop? Yeah, now you're getting into some serious money. I'm actually in the process of getting ready to do some engine overhaul and that kind of stuff. So, you know, Continental has some diesel engines that are potentially coming out. I'd love to go that route, which means I would burn jet fuel. They're not really diesel, they run on jet fuel. But beyond that, honestly, it gets into such high dollar, it makes sense to replace the airplane. If I could afford a turboprop of some sort, by all means, that would be the path I would love to take. DA-42, great airplane. I've had a chance to fly one years ago when they first came out. I haven't flown it since. It was just one flight, but I really, really liked it. Thanks for giving us older ground-bounder ex-pilots a thrill of flying and watching videos. Hey, Wayne, no, thank you for watching my videos. I'm just glad you guys enjoy it, and I'm shocked how much you guys watch and how many subscribers I've started. And I'm glad that for people who are ex-pilots that I can give pleasure to it. I'm glad some people I've motivated to get back into it, and some people I've motivated just to start. And that rocks. Check right, and good luck on that. It just, you know, it's honestly, I get as much pleasure out of making these videos as you guys hopefully get out of watching them. And it helps me get to watch myself and evaluate myself and critique myself. And believe me, I'm a harsher critic than you guys could ever be on me. So even little things like just moving my hand and rubbing my fingers and things that drive me nuts, I didn't know I did. So I thought the Baron was already turboprop. No, it's just a normally aspirated prop, not turboprop. Turboprop technically is turbine type thing when people are referring to turboprop. Recovering from open heart surgery. Well, hey, that's awesome. You get that therapy, and good luck on that. So my dad used to work on Premiere on. Oh, awesome! I hope you've told Greg that. These are just moving. Any more plan with my mom? Yes, I know. I need to take my mom flying. That video was so awesome, and my poor mom. My mom loves flying. Those of you who haven't seen it, that was my mom. My mom being my mom. She loves flying. She loves aviation. It was a nervous tick of hers. She is just like a child, and I love my mom. And it was really cool. When, you know, I didn't actually enjoy the moment, and going back and watching the video and editing it made me enjoy it. And now I watch it here all the time. Did I mention? Did you mention you flew something else for a living? No, I didn't. I do. So my main job for a living, I work in TV production. I mix the audio for live sports mainly. predominantly for golf. For PGA Tour Entertainment is my big client. I'm self-employed, a freelancer, but so that's my main job, TV production background. And then I'm actually in the process of, when I have downtime, I'm going to start doing a little citation flying, another announcement, for a air ambulance company. So a little right seat time, flying around in some citations. So that'll be fun. Are you getting rid of the 440? No, just moving it down. Just moving it down. That'll be my second NAVCOM, and I'll have the 550 as my primary. And it would be great to message retracted. Oh, I missed your question, Gary. Sorry. Hi from 48K. It's moving too fast. Did I buy my island? I wish I could afford an island. Golf. Yep, definitely golf. So that's my primary, and so that's why I get to be everywhere. That's why I was out in Texas and then New Orleans and that kind of stuff. Missed the upgrades. Thanks. Okay, you got the recap. Good. Love you, impressed. So you guys need to check out that coffee maker. I'm telling you, it's awesome. They're not sponsors. I don't get anything from it, but if you go on there in the social media, tell them I sent you. That'd be great. Maybe they'll send me something. Cool. You do the collabs. Listen, the collabs are so much fun for me. I love meeting other guys that have the same motivation as me, and that truly that do it for the sake of promoting aviation. So it's not about me. This video, all this stuff is not about me. It's about aviation, and that's how I want to keep it. So that's why you guys always ask me to talk about myself. One of the reasons I kind of don't is because I kind of want to make it more about flying and aviation. And I'm a little camera shy, believe it or not. So it's much easier for me to talk about others. And when I get Greg and Josh and pulling it out of them, because I like making it about other people. But yeah. So hope you fly GMU. Where's GMU? I'm not sure what that is. I should know, but there's so many airport codes. Avionics upgrading the Baron. Okay, that's why you retracted it. Got it, Gary. Okay, so I think Greenville, South Carolina. Yeah, I need to get to the Carolinas in general. Actually, I have some friends up in Carolina and keep talking about getting up there. There's actually a golf tournament in Greenville, but I guess you know that, right? The BMW sponsors, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So why did I repaint the airplane? So when I bought the airplane, it had original paint. Some of you may have seen it. If you look at my older videos, you will have seen it. And honestly, painting the airplane was going to be the very last thing I did. Fortunately, because the paint was original, I started having exposed metal. Some of that exposed metal, I had to start worrying about corrosion. So because I was getting some corrosion, it was easier. It just made more sense to paint the airplane versus fighting the corrosion and then still having to paint the airplane. So it actually became the second thing I did when it was supposed to be the last thing I did. So, so yeah. Oh yeah, definitely a variety of people can fly. Pilots come from all shapes and backgrounds. You don't have to be rich to be a pilot. You don't have to be smart. I'm a great example of it. You need eye-hand coordination, obviously, and self-control and what have you. But yeah, it's anyone can do it. So I tell everyone, chase your dream. I wanted to fly since I was in elementary school. I knew I wanted to fly. So it's all about sacrifices. One of the questions I get a lot is, how do you afford to fly? Honestly, the answer is I don't. I can't afford to fly. I'm not rich. I don't. I make a decent salary, but I give up other things to do it, and I make sacrifices to do it. And so the question is, I have people that work in the same industry I do who don't understand how I can afford to fly, and my response to them is the same. I give up other things in my life to be able to do that. And when it's your passion, it's not a sacrifice, right? It's the sacrifice would be for me to give up flying, would be the sacrifice. So instead, that's what I do. Any advice on how to get a private pilot and avoid overpaying or going to a scam school. You know, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. You know, mom and pop shops are great. Large schools that have been around a long time are great. I'd say probably the biggest scams would be a new large school that suddenly popped up. Also, if you've got to pay the money up front, it's probably definitely too good to be true. You shouldn't be really paying for an entire school. You're training up front. ATP might be the exception. They're a legit school. Actually, I did some training with them. They're not going anywhere. But I know there's been some of that stuff that's gone on where people, can I go backwards? Oh, I can. Where people can, you know, have paid and then suddenly the company closed down and they're gone. Hanger for the bearing cost per month, or is that a secret? No, it's not a secret. Depends where you are, honestly. Airplane equals mistress. Actually, it's funny because airplane equals wife is actually how my family refers to the airplane. But yeah, so it depends where you are. When I was in Fort Lauderdale, it was running the $600 plus a month range for a hanger. Now it's in the $250 range for the hanger, $250 to $300. So it just depends where you are in the country. And so it just goes back to sacrifices, right? Like there's a reason why I'm no longer in Fort Lauderdale, as much as I love Fort Lauderdale, but you know, if I can, you know, that difference in pay makes a difference between, you know, flying and not flying. So, yeah. One of my, hold on, this is getting good. One of my men told the U.S. Air Force pilot I was transporting the base house. Hey, they train monkeys to fly in space capsules. Anybody can fly an airplane. True that. So, what do I think of the Bonanza? Great airplane. You know, obviously, a Baron is just a twin version of the Bonanza, right? Just the same fuselage. I just throw it on the outside. Why not the 58? You know, honestly, I love the 58, and I kind of wish I had a 58. If I'm being honest, I wasn't looking for a Baron when I bought the Baron. I was looking for. I was going to buy another Mooney. I love my Mooney. And that's what I was after. And then a buddy of mine told me about this plane that he knew of that was for sale, but it wasn't listed. And I could probably get it for a steal. And well, I got it for a steal. So the rest is history. I missed the start. Guessing you're upgrading from the Baron. No, not from the Baron. Upgrades to the Baron. Avionics, IFD 550, Avionics audio panel, that kind of stuff. It's also talking about testing out the Ghost 4K drift camera because I've had nothing but problems with my GoPros, which I got from FlightFlix, which if you go to baronpilot.net, I talk about FlightFlix and have a coupon code from them. And then I'm doing a flight tomorrow with this. And then when I do, I'll give a review on there. And if I like it, I will change out all 7 of my cameras for this. So where are we? Again, it's moving so fast. Interesting. I think that was the. How long have I been flying? Oh, forever. I started flying in the 90s. I started flying, and you know, I've hit all the bumps in the road that most of you guys probably have. I've started and stopped. You know, got expensive. Had a kid. Had a second kid. Started flying myself. Not flying very often. And in fact, that's how I ended up becoming aircraft owner, was when I started realizing that I'm just not flying enough. I'm just not being safe. Then I decided, well, I'll either have to give up flying or have to buy an airplane. So I bought an airplane. I wasn't ready to give it up. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever give up flying. If I can't afford a Baron, then I'll buy a single engine. If I can't afford a single engine, I'll buy a sport aircraft. If I can't afford a sport aircraft, I'll buy an ultralight. You know, like I put on the most recent shirts I made, flying is not what I do, it's who I am. And I'm not giving it up, so can't do it. When I wanted to learn to fly, I was wearing glasses. You can fly with glasses. I don't know who told you that. You can absolutely fly with glasses. You just need to be able to have corrected vision within, I don't think it even has to be 20 20 corrected. I think it's got like 20, 30 corrected or something. So you can wear military, might be a different story. Actually, I think that's changed too. When I wanted to go in the Air Force, that was the case. Fortunately, I had 20/20 eyes, but never did go to the Air Force. But that's a whole nother conversation. Age-old question: one engine or two? You know, the odds of an engine going out on either is pretty slim to none. I love my Mooney with single engine. When I'm flying at night, I'm glad I have two engines. When I'm flying hard IMC, I'm glad I have two engines. When I'm flying over large bodies of water, I'm happy I have engines. So either way, you know, it's just a mental thing. So, you know, that's the age-old question. What's safer, a single or a twin? And honestly, they both, in certain areas, one's safer than the other, but they both have their pros and cons. I see you wear a Porsche hat all the time. Yes. Do I own one currently, or is it a thing from my? No, I do I still own a Porsche. I'm a Porsche guy. I have a 993, and again, another thing I'll never give up is that car. So yeah, I love Porsches, and I'm fortunate and blessed to have bought one before I ever had an airplane, and now I keep it. So one day I guess I should probably show it to you guys. Moonies are awesome. Yes, love my Mooney. Or loved my Mooney, but if I went back to a single, that's probably the direction I would go. It's a great price for a hanger. It's the size. I don't recall the dimensions, but big enough to fit the Baron. So, as well, hola. And I'm sorry, I know I'm missing some of you guys because I got two different places things are coming from. So I think renting is more expensive. You know, long term, it's probably not. By the time you factor in everything you pay for by owning an airplane, hangar, maintenance, things of that nature. But in my mind, because they have the 3-hour day, 4-hour day minimums, if I want to go somewhere that's only an hour and a half away and I want to go for the weekend, when I factor in how much I'm paying for that weekend trip, when I quantify it that way, it doesn't financially make sense to rent an airplane and go fly to Key West for the weekend when I'm paying for all this time. So it's a tough sell for me, because in the long term, if you look at the end of the year, it probably is cheaper to rent sometimes, depending how much you're flying. But, you know, it's one of those deals. When I was getting my multi-instructor said between. Yeah, you know, the big thing with so, you know, the old difference between the single and the twin, right, is the one statistic is when a single engine fails, you know it because there's stats of it, right? They have to land. When a twin engine fails, an engine fails, you don't always know that it happened. There's not always a statistic that follows it. But the one statistic that's true is when the two crash, it's more likely to be fatal in a twin than in a single because of the nature of the crash. That's really the big difference is when they go down, a twin is probably more likely to be fatal, but that comes down to being proficient, and which is why I go to places like SimCom every year, even though my insurance doesn't require me to do it, to try to stay on top of it and efficient. Strike Commander. You know, it's funny you mentioned that, Gary, because 500B, not necessarily a strike, but 500B is my dream twin airplane. Don't know why, but it really is. Don't know I'll ever have one, but I would definitely sell the 55 for that, or trade it if I could. Love my 58. Yes, stole mine too. Yes. There's some great deals out there, and like I said, I do wish I had it. Oh, that's Brenda. Haha. Sorry, I could just see your picture. Yeah, I'm sure you do love that airplane. Although you need to post more pictures of it. Would you buy a Duke if the price is right? You know, it's funny. A lot of people are afraid of Dukes. I have a buddy of mine who used to own a Duke and absolutely loved it. Sold it. Has a 320 now, which is basically a 310 on steroids, I guess. And he he actually had less problems with his Duke than he did with his 320. So it's one of those things, you know. It's like cars, you know, certain cars people say are nothing but trouble. You know, Porsches, people tend to say that. Meanwhile, knock on wood, but I've never had an issue with the car. So, hey Martin, missed the whole. Yeah, you have to watch the whole thing. Avionics upgrade, camera. If you want to message me, I'll tell you everything. Catch you up now. I'm just kind of responding to people's questions. Story sounds familiar. Yeah, Michael, that's the deal. But and I get it, stopping you cold. Kids are important, family's important, and you got to be able to take care of them. So, but for me, once they, you know, got to a point in age where, you know, things were a little better, that's when I got back into it. And like I said, I'd have little, you know, hiatuses here and there, but yeah, it wasn't going to ever go away forever. So, yes, Michael, I had the good fortune of meeting Martin when he comes down to Florida every once in a while. We haven't flown together yet. Martin and I hopefully will change that. But he did buy me breakfast, and you did not need to buy me breakfast, but we did meet up for breakfast. So Martin rocks. For those of you who aren't familiar with Martin, check out his page as well. So he does some really, really good videos. His editing is way better than mine. He does some good stuff. So you can fly with glasses now, but when I started in 1960, yeah, well, then hey, it's not too late. Listen, it's the one thing I try to preach with my videos is that it's never too late to get an aviation. So you're never too old. So fly until the doctor says you can't. What kind of avionics do you run your Baron? Are you a Garmin guy? No, I'm not a Garmin guy. Chris, you need to be watching my videos. You should know the answer to that question. I use Avidyne in my airplane. I have Avidyne IFD 440 is my GPS, and some old Collins stuff that's in the process of coming out, which was one of the big announcements in the beginning of this video. I'm now adding a second Avidyne, the 550, to my airplane, which has a lot of cool features, which I'll be showing you in my future videos, as well as the Avidyne audio panel. You know, Garmin makes a great product. I've got nothing against Garmin. But to me, the difference between Garmin and Avidyne is like using a GPS versus using an FMS. To me, Avidyne, the way they think kind of makes sense to me. Like I'm a Mac guy versus a PC. They both do the same thing, get you to the same place, but I like the flow of the Mac better. I like the way the Avidyne operates better. You know, with that being said, when I had my Muni, I had a GNS 430. So, you know, I trust Garmin. They make great products. Trust it with my life. But from an operator standpoint, from a pilot standpoint, I think Avidyne put the pilot in mind when they designed it versus the engineer making a decision. So, about to start my multi-engine training on the B-55. Any advice? Oh, that's a loaded question. I don't know if I have enough time for my advice. I guess the big thing for now, my big advice would be, you know, it's just an airplane, right? They all fly the same. The big thing about flying a twin is not learning how to fly. You already know how to fly. It's you learning how to fly a plane on one engine. And so if you just remember that, and every time you're flying, be prepared for an engine to fail. Assume on takeoff that one of your engines are going to fail. Assume anytime you're in a climb that an engine is going to fail. And the reason I say that is because those are the two times that it's most dangerous, because you're slow. Losing an engine in cruise is no big deal. The plane will yaw, you'll step on the rudder, step on the ball, and it's good. But it's that, you know, those first few seconds after takeoff are the most critical in the twin, which is one of the reasons why I put my gear up right away. In a twin, speed is life. In a single, altitude is life, right? So in a single, you want to VX, get as high as you can in case your engine fails, to give you as much options as possible to land somewhere. In a twin, you want that speed up. That way, if the engine quits, you're not rolling over, and now you can climb at 200 feet a minute and hopefully clear obstacles. So, and if not, if your gear is up, so what? Then land with the gear up. You know, the engine fails, someone posted somewhere, when an engine fails, it becomes the insurance company's airplane. So just worry about getting out of it. Between you, Martin, and Steve-O's influence, I've been mulling over getting current. Yes, when you mean mulling over, do it, Michael. When I stopped flying, I was working my instrument rating. I don't live that far from Mr. Aviation. Well, okay, talk to Josh. Like, not even as instructor, just talk to Josh. You need to do it. Go ahead. I mean, getting back in is like getting on a bike, man. You'll just be getting back in the seat. You'll spend a little time getting current again, and then go back and finish instrument training. Most important ticket you'll get will be your IFR, and it's a ticket to learn. You'll learn more flying IFR than you will anything else. So definitely do that. Definitely get current. So hold on. I really was only planning on making this short. Here I am, 40 minutes into this. Holy crap. Where am I? Yeah, I've actually flown in a glider once. Actually, the first half of the flight, I was scared to death, to be honest. It was quiet. It was slow. I felt like we were on the verge of stalling. And of course we weren't. And then by the time I got comfortable, it was right when we landed. And that was out in Portland, Oregon years ago. I'd love to do some more of that, though. Thank you, Scotty. Thinking about going to Florida for my multi-commercial instrument add-on. Yeah, Florida's some great flying. I'm not sure where home is, Tyler. But definitely do it all at once. You know, when I did my multi-commercial. I already had my instrument, but I did my multi-commercial at once. And yeah, actually, I had my multi-commercial before I even had my single, and then later on, I added my single to that. My only thing about getting instrument in Florida is it'll all be hood time for the most part. So we don't get a lot of good instrument weather. We do get buildups, but as you see in my videos, if you watch them, I do my best to fly around that. I don't want to get jostled. It's no fun. So what do you think about P-Barons? I've never flown one, but I wish my Baron was pressurized. When you get into pressurized airplanes, of course, you get into higher higher maintenance costs and things of that nature. But yeah, if I could afford one or had one, I would be thrilled. 550 is a good choice. Thank you. Are you keeping the 440? Nope, definitely keeping it. It's going to drop down to my second com. Am I going to switch to those Zulus you were trying out? Yeah, actually, yeah, I think so. I haven't used my Claudio Lofts. I guess that's another announcement for those who don't follow me on social media on Instagram. Again, going to Sun and Fun, and like Oshkosh is probably gonna do the same thing to me. Gets costly. So I've switched to Lightspeed headsets. I now have the Zulu 3s, Zulu 4s, the Zulus headsets, and I love them. Having the noise canceling, having the Bluetooth is really nice. I actually have a second set. I didn't tell any of you guys on social media. I also got a Tango for the co-pilot seat because my headset plugs into basically below the armrest. So when there's a headset plugged into my second COM port, every time I get in and out of the airplane, I'm tripping over wires. And so when people go on to put them on the panel or what have you, it's in the way. And if they leave them on the seat, then as I'm climbing over, I'm hitting them. So the Tangos are wireless, and they have noise canceling, and they have Bluetooth. So they're awesome headsets. So I got a pair of those for my co-pilot seat as well. So it's pretty awesome. Yeah, crash courses are good. I tell you what, immersion is really good. So fixation is addicting. Are you referring to, what are you referring to when you say screen fixation is addicting? What is the best as a first airplane to buy, IFR rated or VFR? It's a loaded question. So I've talked a lot of people into becoming pilots. I always say I don't want any part of someone buying an airplane because it can be the best experience of your life or it can be the worst experience of your life. And so I don't want credit, therefore I don't want blame. with that being said, honestly, the best airplane is going to depend on your mission and your true mission, what you typically will fly 75% of the time. Don't buy an airplane because, you know, once every 2 years you might go fly to California from Florida. Like don't buy an airplane based on that. Like how many people are you really going to carry? Now I say that and I'm flying an engine airplane. Typically I don't have anybody in it, one person. But as I mentioned, that was more because I was able to steal the airplane, which is kind of how I ended up with that. But you know, there's nothing wrong with you know, like I'm a low wing guy, so you know, a Warrior is a great IFR platform. It's a stable airplane. It's a low cost airplane to fly. It's a great airplane. If you got a little more money to spend, you know, my next step up from that would probably be looking to something like a Mooney, depending on your time and depending on how disciplined you are. Because the thing about Moonies are, they are amazing airplanes, but you have to fly. You have to fly them to the number. You can't get lazy and let your speed get high, or you will float down that runway forever. Where was I? In from the UK, want to know if I think you're asking me if we fly more in America because of the weather. If that's the question, I think people fly here more because it's less expensive. We don't have user fee flying in the system. Our fuel tends to cost less, and so and because you know you're not necessarily dealing with as much international airspace as you are in Europe, because you can quickly get into somewhere else. That's my assumption. Please, anyone correct me if I'm wrong. Do I prefer low wing or high wing? So I did my private in a Cessna 152. Then after I got my private, I moved on to a 172. Then when I did my instrument training, I did that in a Warrior, a low wing. And honestly, ever since I went to a low wing, I never went back. I think I've done one flight in a 172 after that. It was a biannual I did, but I'm a low wing guy. I just prefer low wing over high wing. You know, in the air, they all fly the same. The difference in the air is basically field of view. You know, can you see above you? You can see below you. But as far as landing characteristics, I prefer the low wing over the high wing. Just my personal preference. But there's no right or wrong answer to that, obviously. But yeah, so Piper's here in San Antonio. Yeah, exactly. That's what I prefer. So. Someone over here, next video. Actually, I have a video coming out tomorrow. It's going to be released. It's not my typical video, not my traditional video. Some of you will like it, some of you will hate it. Basically went flying up with, did some formation flying with some warbirds back before Sun and Fun. That video is out, edited. Most of it is basically just, you know, I'm not really talking. I'm trying to let the pilot talk and concentrate on what we're doing and trying to explain it all. And so that's the gist of that video. Hope you guys like it. Again, it's a little different than what I normally do. It's the first time I'd ever done any formation flying. So I do hope to actually do another video, but my next video of that will be better. But I thought it was something that you guys would like, and so I had to share it. So it's there. It's actually on Patreon as we speak. There's two versions on Patreon. The regular version, which you guys will see on YouTube, and then there's the entire flight on Patreon as well, for those who have access to that, who really want to see it all. But it's not my traditional video. So love the tail cam. Yeah, me too. It's a really cool view. And in fact, when I go to the drift on the tail, because you guys will notice, those of you earlier, probably switching to the drift, 4 hours record time. So a lot of time with the tail on my long flights, it dies before I land. So, where am I? Have you seen any Red Bull drinkers in the air? I don't know. I don't drink Red Bull. So I'm more of an espresso guy, and then I usually have a 5-hour energy in the event of emergency. if I ever really need it. But thankfully, I usually don't. So really shouldn't be flying if you're tired. But just in case, I usually have that there. Have I been to the Reno races? No, that's on my to-do list. I know Reno, Oshkosh are a little close. Yeah, I need to go out to those races. I'm trying to get more involved. I mean, the problem is, guys, flying is what I love and what I do, but unfortunately, flying in YouTube, even more importantly, YouTube, does not pay my bills, despite what people think. So usually work interferes with most things. So this year, I've never been to Oshkosh before because work's always interfere with it. So I made a conscious effort to actually take off the week of, not take work the week of Sun and Fun and the week of Oshkosh. And so it's hard. There's so many things I want to get to. And I guess if I had paid sponsors and people paying me, they'd be a lot easier to do that. So where was I? Yeah, I know. Donald, I know. It's hard because I do want to stop, but I appreciate all my followers and viewers. Donald, viewers, if you didn't see it, it's like I'm gonna be here a long time if I don't stop answering the questions. But yeah, it's kind of hard because I appreciate all you guys. Like, you know, I'm like every time I talk about you guys, I get goosebumps. I'm honored and thrilled that you guys follow my channel, and so it means the world to me. And so if I got to spend a little more time than I was anticipating, then so be it. And I'll spend a little more time, and it is what it is. So came in late. What kind of video camera would you suggest for a guy who wants to get into aviation? Okay, so you mentioned that, Chris. One of the upgrades that's coming, and I'm actually going to be doing my first test tomorrow, is with the Ghost 4K. Basically, it can record 4K. The big thing about it is with the other battery, which takes out just a hair more, this is capable of recording 4 hours of 4K footage on it. With just as you see, you can mount it however you want. It's got built-in stabilization like the GoPros do, but say if it has to be mounted on a strut that's on an angle, with the GoPro, your video is now going to sit like this. This has got a little white dot on it. So you simply adjust the white dot to what the top view is, and you can literally rotate the camera any way you want, and the video will always be up. So this is most likely where I'm going. I have 7 GoPros I use. So if this passed the test that I expect it to do, I'm going to be buying 7 other of these. You can go on to baronpilot.net if you're thinking about buying some. There's a company called Flightflix. On baronpilot.net, there's a little blog about them. There's a coupon code on there. Go on there, and if you're going to buy anything, go ahead and use the code, and you can save some money on whatever you buy. He's got mounts and all kinds of good stuff as well. So be sure to check it out. I actually like his mounts. I just got, in my next video, there's a seat mount. I'm not sure if he's selling that yet, but I got him to send it to me. That basically lets you mount it to your seat. So it should be a pretty cool view for you guys. I hope you like it as it comes out. Just watched Baron fly with me while fighting a huge buildup. Too bad it wasn't me. And yes, always avoid the huge buildups. So if it flew over you, then I guess that means you were in something slower. What's faster? Or I don't know what that airplane is, Mizira. I wish I could answer that for you. Came in late. Okay, boom. Answer that. All right. This is moving on me again. Yeah, now you're getting some real jets, the Boeing 40 Constellation. What autopilot does the Baron have? Does it have altitude hold? Yes. So currently I have a Century 3. Hopefully that'll change soon, but it does have altitude hold. Sometimes it gets a little funky because it's a little old and tired. So when it does, I have to hit the altitude hold 100 feet before, and typically it'll climb up. But who knows? With Dynon and some of the new autopods coming on, let's see what the future holds. Do you have a PC-based flight sim? I have X-Plane. I'm a big fan of X-Plane. I've been watching them through the years, and X-Plane makes a really, really good flight sim. That's my personal preference. I know Microsoft Flight Sim has come along through the years, and there's other ones, but those Austin Myers has done a really, really good job with X-Plane, and so I kind of have never gone anywhere else since I found them. I've applied for the independent wealthy job. Yeah, I'm still waiting for that too, Michael. Okay, it's moving on me again. Hello, Stephen. Get lightheaded all this talking I'm doing here. Yeah, Jerry W. I got to be out in California and meet up with him. I actually do have trips to California. Usually I do 2 or 3 a year. I just don't know that I'm ever in the Oakland area. But honestly, him and I have never talked. I should probably touch base with him. But I kind of haven't, because I haven't been out in the area. So did you enjoy P1D 360 VR? I do. I like the 360 camera. It's pretty cool. It's not for everyone. I get it. But I think it gives a really good perspective for things. Instead of, when we make our videos, and I think one of the reasons why Greg likes putting that camera in there is because we make it and we show you what we want you to see, and it may not be what you want to see. And the nice thing about the 360 is, whether you're watching on there or you have the goggles, is you can kind of just sit there, and if you're actually in the plane, like if you notice when I'm flying, sometimes, especially when I'm not flying, when I'm a co-pilot, I start to look around and I get to look at things, and I think it's nice that you can kind of get that perspective. And actually, Greg and I have actually talked about, I might borrow his camera and put it on my tail and see how that looks, and see if it's something some of you guys might like. But it's good to have friends on here. So yeah, X-Plane's good. I recommend it. So if you're thinking about getting it. Hi from the Bahamas. Yeah, I love the Bahamas. Hello. Can I please recap? You guys are crushing me with these recaps. All right, so here's the gist. Told you about some announced upgrades that were coming. Here's the recap. I have, looks like Instagram Live is about to die. So the recap is this. I am Avidyne putting in some more avionics. Avidyne IFD 550 is going into the airplane. Also, the audio panel, Avidyne audio panel, is going to go into the Baron as well. Those are two new avionics that are going in there. Hopefully it'll be digital. There's a whole lot of features on both of those that I'll show you when they go in, but I'm pretty excited to announce that. Also been testing out, or in process testing out, the Ghost 4K camera. That potentially will go in there. Also, AirTex LT now have the ability to, it's a little portable unit that I can take with me in and out of the airplane, can use it on boats, anywhere. So I can send and receive up to 6 people via Bluetooth text messages while I'm in the airplane. Can also talk to FBOs while I'm in the airplane. Can also, if you want certain people to track you privately, you can do that. Get digital ATISs, and they're on the verge of being able to pick up your clearance at uncontrolled airports, all digitally via the AirText. I'm going to do a whole blog on the AirText. That will be on baronpilot.net, and so that'll be on there. And actually, we'll add a link. If you do want one, be sure to message me about it, because eventually I'm going to probably put a link so you can actually get them from my website. So be sure to check that out. I think there's a whole bunch of questions I missed. OEM, hold on, I'm about to run out of time on Instagram. Sorry. Sorry, Chris 8. This is about to drop off. Oh, there's a whole bunch on here. I don't know how this thing come up. Sorry, guys. On Instagram, it's dying, but go on to YouTube real quick if you want to catch up. And it's gone. All right. We just got rid of Instagram Live, just us. So let me focus on this, and then I've got to get going. But so that was the recap, Chris. Fast recap, but I hope that kind of gets you there. I used the P3D Professional Plus. Oh, I got to look into that. That definitely would be a perk of working at Lockheed. Cape Town, South Africa. Hello, Michael. I've actually been to South Africa. Loved it. I didn't get to see Cape Town, but I flew into Joburg and then went to George, and I was there for the President's Cup. I guess you can figure out what year that was. Early 2000s, mid 2000s. Loved it out there. You have a beautiful country. The flight from here to there leaves something to be desired, but beautiful, beautiful country. All right, so thumbs up for putting the Blindies 360 camera on your tail. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. That was Greg's idea. So if you do like it, when I do it, give him all the cred, and let him know, and send him a message, letting him know that you want that to happen. Oh, okay, hold on. Cornerback, I'm going to see you later. Porsche killed Paul Walker. What? Not following you on that. Despite your leaning towards Avidyne, have you thought about going to the G5 GFC 500 600 as a replacement autopilot? Okay, that was a couple questions there. So I've thought about the G5. I'm not going to go the G5 route. Basically for the following reasons. The G5 is a nice unit, but I don't know that it gives me enough that it's worth the investment. And then technically I really need to buy two. So now if I'm spending the money to buy two, one for my attitude indicator and one as an HSI, am I better off at that point just going with an Aspen? You know, you start to get into, does it make sense? Garmin notoriously doesn't necessarily play the best with others. So even though, yes, that will work with my Avidyne, I don't know that that's the best route for me. Aspen probably makes a little more sense, but then I'm kind of like, well, if I'm going to spend the money on Aspen, then I probably want more than the one screen. Dynon's got some stuff coming out. It's not certified yet, but it's potentially on the verge of it. So I'm kind of hoping and leaning towards maybe wanting to go that route, which then leads to the GFC 500 600. I'm forced to the 600 because I have a twin. It's ridiculous because my plane's the same as the Bonanza. Again, one of the reasons why I have, these things with Garmin. Garmin's going to force me into the more expensive unit, even though my plane basically is the same as a Bonanza. So again, Dynon, I believe their Skyview's got an autopilot system. So I'm kind of hoping to go that route, but we'll see. All that's kind of up in the air at this moment. So, and where are we? In one of my videos, I had asked for clearance to land more than once. Does that happen often? Honestly, no. That's really the only time it ever has happened, which is kind of why I was a little persistent on confirming that I am clear to land. I got some grief over that from some people, but the reality is that you're not clear to land until you clear to land. And yes, they can wait till the last minute to clear me, but they can also forget about you. And particularly if you get a new controller, if you get someone who's training, they should have a supervisor watching them. But I've been flying long enough that I've seen mistakes happen, and they're human just like we are, right? Just like I can make a mistake. So are controllers. So I'd rather be safe than sorry. And so yeah, I kind of was persistent on that. And yeah, it's the only time it's ever happened. Usually they're really good about it. So, but that controller that day seemed to be a little over his head, and even the supervisor keyed in to kind of do that. Fort Myers, hey, here in my neck of the woods. You saw Martin out at FMY. Yeah, actually, when I met him for lunch, we were real close to Pagefield. And oh, you were the one who took the video for landing. That's cool, awesome. I do not have my CFI. Honestly, I've debated it, but I feel like I wouldn't be a good instructor. I think for some people I probably would be great, and for other people probably not so much. But it's just one of those things I've thought about. I just haven't done it. So so yeah. Right here. Ever get to St. Pete? Yeah, actually, I don't know if you saw the video, but Greg and I, Premier One driver, we actually flew into St. Pete to watch the Indy race. So that was a video I posted. I actually want to get out there to go have lunch at that airport. That's the first time I'd ever been out there. It was really cool landing, you know, coming right across the water. It was really cool. So, just get a full glass cockpit. Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you want to sponsor me, support me, I'd love to get a full glass. I'm with you on that. You know, unfortunately, like I said, I'm not independently wealthy, but that is the way to go. So, where are we? Yes, I will, Carlos. I will be at my plan is to be at the Punta Gorda Air Show. Absolutely. So, yeah, you know, by all means, come out. I don't know that I'll have a meet and greet type thing there, but I'll be there. So, if you don't follow me on Beach Baron Pilot on Instagram. And it's also the best way to message me is on Beach Baron Pilot Instagram, because YouTube messaging is horrible. If you post on a video, I see it and I respond. Sometimes the comments, I don't know, the replies, the comments, I don't always see. It's not that I'm not necessarily responding to your response. I don't always see them. And when you send messages, sometimes I won't see them for weeks. It's a horrible system. So just go ahead and do that. Do I ever get vertigo? Hold on, actually, do I ever get vertigo? I don't. Not flying. I don't. I do get if I'm watching IMAX theaters and that kind of stuff, and I can get sometimes a little woozy from that. But in an airplane, no, never. But I think that's part of the same reason why I don't get seasick operating a boat in rough seas, because I'm busy concentrating versus just sitting there. So. Where are we? Trinidad and Tobago. My son loves your videos. Awesome. Well, tell your son I said hi, and thank him for watching my stuff. Am I going to rebuild or buy new engines? See, now that's a good question. The plan is I'm probably going to go with a factory overhaul. My engine cases are original, my crankcases and everything. So the technology's changed. You know, the engine's the same, but the materials have changed, the metals have changed. So if I just did an overhaul, I'd still be using the same, you know, old metals, what have you. Where if I go with a factory overhaul, they're going to throw that crankcase away. They're going to throw everything away, and I'm basically going to get a brand new engine. 90% of the engine is going to be brand new. So most likely that's the route I'm going to go. And so I'm just trying to process of making that decision and when I'm going to do that. And actually, I was talking to Continental today, ironically, about that very thing. So, do you ever get separate insurance to fly another pilot's plane? You know, I don't. I mean, theoretically, I'm covered, and typically, if I'm flying someone else's plane, depends on their policy. You know, all planes have an open policy, as long as you have so many hours or so many hours from type and different things. So depending on what I'm doing, like when I fly my buddy's Baron, I'm covered between his insurance and my insurance. I'm covered anyways. So, you know, it's that kind of thing. If I'm flying, let's say someone's jet, maybe I'm not covered, but at that point they're PIC and I'm not. So I'm not just out in their airplane. You know, it's funny, I was just in Dallas just the other day, commercially, not in the Baron. As you know, I was in San Antonio in the Baron. Yeah, actually, I might actually be back out there. So send me a message, go onto my Instagram, and I don't mind speaking to your flying club. So send me a message on my Instagram and we'll hook up, or just follow my Instagram and I'll try to remember next time I'm heading out to Dallas, assuming I have time, I'll post on there that I'm going to be out there. I try to make, again, Instagram, my live stories, not necessarily my posts. I try to make them pretty accurate and pretty, you know, timely. So Guatemala. Hello, Julio. All right. What does takeoff acceleration bearing feel like compared to an airliner? Well, it's like an airliner, depending on the airliner. But it's got pretty good acceleration. You know, depending on how many people are in there. I don't hold the brakes and run the throttles up. You know, I kind of do, you know, add a little bit of power. If you'll notice, if you watch my takeoff routine, you know, add a little power. I'm making sure everything's good and in the green as I slowly add the throttle to full throttle. So if I needed a short field and needed more acceleration, then of course I would hold the brakes, go full throttle, and then release them at full power. But I try not to do that. So, all right, Parker Davis, what's up? So anyhow, I think I got through all your questions in an hour and 12 minutes. It's a little longer than I thought, but I hope you guys enjoyed this little one-on-one session. Hope I answered all your questions. I'm sure some got missed. Apologize for that. This little screen scrolling, and honestly, I kind of got to let it go. But so yeah, that was that. Again, you know, thanks for following. Follow me on Instagram, Beach Baron Pilot. I also have, for those of you who are on Facebook, Baron Pilot page. I try to post on there as well. And Oshkosh, those of you going, there'll be the whole meetup, little meet and greet. We'll be out there, and I'll be posting any day now on Beach Baron Pilot where that will be, and I'll also post that on baronpilot.net. So Beach Baron Pilot Instagram, baronpilot.net, and on Baron Pilot page on Facebook. There's way too many of these. I'm on Twitter too, but honestly, I can't. So so that's that. But so if you're going to be at Oshkosh, let me know. Be sure to visit, say hi. If you see me walking around, even if it's not a meet and greet, say hi, stop me. Like I said, I'm honored that you guys even spend the time to watch my videos, let alone this kind of stuff. So so that's it. And so until then, thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Anyone who missed the beginning, recap. I think I'm allowed to tell this to post, so it'll be there. So anyhow, until then, everyone stay safe. Thank you again, one and all. Thank you for being loyal to me and loyal follower. And I will see you guys soon. And oh, I didn't mention Patreon, but I feel like I'm pandering when I do that. But I'm on Patreon as well. So anyhow, stay safe, guys. Until then.